I think we're the first agricultural nation in the world. This has helped to form the nation. We were the first political nation in the world, and this has been done because of agriculture, because of the Nile, because of the very fertile lands on both banks of the Nile and the Delta. And this has caused the construction of the first state in the world. That was 5,000 or 6,000 years ago. So we've been there, tilling the land, planting, using agricultural techniques for over thousands of years. This could be a plus, but it's always a problem. Because when you come and modernize, when you come and change the culture, when you come and introduce new methods, there is a huge resistance. It's not like when you start from scratch and you start from the beginning and you start where the other people ended. So for us, we have two very clear and very distinct methods of agriculture. You have the newly reclaimed lands, which were deserts, and now they are agricultural land, which are using very modern techniques. They are using the technology that is used in the United States and is used in all developed agricultural countries. And you have the old lands, which are by far less developed than the others. And they are still using very old techniques, and they need to be modernized, and they need to change. So this is more or less the situation we have now, and the challenge is to try and modernize the old lands, which maybe constitute 65% of our arable land. Well, the most famous is cotton, of course. This is not the largest now, because at one point in time we're planting around 1/3 of our arable land with cotton. Now it's less than maybe 5 to 6%. But the thing is that we produce one of the best cotton quality-wise in the world. The Egyptian cotton is well known for its staple, for its strength, for its brightness. So this is one of the major commodities. The other, of course, we're large producers of rice. We're large producers of wheat, although we import because, of course, of the population increase that has happened over the years. We also produce corn. I mean, most of fruits and vegetables, most of the crops that are produced, if you take California, for example, we are very similar from the point of view of weather condition and climate and even the quality of soil to California. Although, of course, you have much more arable land in California than you have here, but the irrigated land in California is equal to the irrigated land in Egypt. So this is what we produce, but of course we are net importers of food until now. The two major crops or the two major products that we import are wheat and corn. We import around 5 million tons of wheat and around 4.5 million tons of corn. But we are self-sufficient, of course, and we are exporters of fruits and vegetables. We're exporters of rice and many other, of course, of cotton. But the major two items that we have to import is wheat and corn. Yes, we are buying, of course, wheat at international prices, and we are subsidizing bread heavily. So the loaf of bread, which is around 100 grams, is sold for 5 piastres. 5 piastres is 1 cent, around 1 cent. So of course there's very heavy subsidies in that area. Yes, of course, because first of all, you couldn't decrease your imports, and you had to pay the international prices, which were going through the roof. And you had to keep the prices in the inside or in the internal prices constant. And so the subsidies just ballooned. Fortunately, now the prices are falling again. But of course, also there was a blessing in that, because the Egyptian grower was receiving much more for his products. And this led for a short period of time for his income to increase and grow. Now we have put a rule that we are buying, if the government is buying from local growers any item, they are paying the international prices. The government is paying. We do not take from our growers their product for a lesser price. We have to pay the international price, whatever it is. So the local producers, their income increased when the prices went through the roof, but also the subsidies increased, and this was sort of a problem for the budget. Well, it employs around 30% of the workforce, and it produces around 14% of the GDP, agriculture. It used to be 30%, but now it's down because the other sectors are growing in a quicker pace. Of course, our main restriction is not land, because Egypt, you know, is around 1,000,000 square kilometers, which is bigger than any of the major countries of Europe. It's bigger than France, it's bigger than Germany, it's bigger than Italy and Spain. But the restriction is water. We don't have a lot of water. Our main source, or maybe the only source, is the River Nile. We get from the River Nile around 55.5 billion cubic meters of water, and 80% of that is used for agriculture. So we have to modernize our agricultural systems, we have to modernize our irrigation system, and this will lead us to reclaim more land from the desert. But we have plenty of land. The only restriction is water. Well, we think that we should look at this particular matter with a lot of care and scrutiny, because corn is animal feed. It means protein for the people. It means, especially in chicken. I'm not speaking about red meat, which we are self-sufficient in chicken, and we use a lot of our imports in corn for the chicken feed. But when the prices of corn went through the roof, of course, it reflected on a lot of other items inside the Egyptian economy and in the world economy. So this is going really to put further stress on the income of the poorer population. And since the Millennium Goals are to alleviate poverty, is this really going in the right direction? And now, especially that, yeah, I could understand this when the price of oil was $147, but now that it's going back down, is this still going to continue? Is this, and plus that the government of the United States is subsidizing ethanol with huge amounts of money. I mean, taking the financial crisis into consideration, is this going to continue? Is this something that is going, and in the end, how much will burning all this corn give? 5%, 10% of what you're using in energy? I don't think it's worth it. That's true, that's true. It could feed the Mexican, especially that they use corn for producing bread in Mexico. It could feed the Mexican for a year. Well, agriculture, it won't impact agriculture directly, but because also it is impacting the international prices for commodities and foodstuffs, and this is going down right now. But definitely the whole economy will be impacted in the medium term, not necessarily in the short term, because our banking system is fine. We did not feel any stress within the banking system. I think it will impact definitely tourism. It might impact the Suez Canal tolls. It might impact also the foreign direct investments that we're receiving, and this is helping us to create jobs, because, you know, we're growing, our population growth is around 1.3 million per year. We have to create 750,000 jobs a year, and we've been doing this for the past 3 years. You know, when this government came 4 years ago, the challenge was to create jobs without employing in the government, because the government sector was already saturated. And the challenge was how to create 750,000, which were the newcomers to the labor market every year, without really employing them in the government, which doesn't need them. So we've succeeded in bringing down unemployment from 11% to around 8%, which is a great achievement in my opinion. But will this continue if FDI falls? I hope it will. I hope, because also we have local investments that are going to continue and are going to grow. In the meantime, we still hope that from the region we will receive. We know that, of course, coming from the investments coming from the US and Western Europe are going to be affected for a time. I don't think this is going to be for forever, but for a time at least. And we think that we can substitute this with investments coming from the region. Well, you see, the agricultural sector has been liberalized before any other sector because, first of all, it is private ownership. The state does not own farms. And then we've started liberalizing the prices because at one point in time, the state was giving the grower all the inputs and buying the outputs at prices that were decided by the state. It was not according to the market prices. So we've liberalized the prices of products, of commodities, without really liberalizing the inputs because we are still subsidizing some of the inputs and in particular fertilizers. We have said that we are going to liberalize completely. But of course, given that your competitors are heavily subsidizing their products, especially the US and Europe, so it would be, in my opinion, unfair to leave our growers totally unprotected while their competitors are being heavily protected. So the point is that, of course, the emerging markets or the developing nations don't have the means and don't have the capabilities of heavily subsidizing agriculture, because in the end they have to have a fiscal policy that is pragmatic and that is realistic. But of course we think that the world has to do more, the developed countries have to do more about liberalizing agriculture and giving everyone a chance to compete in markets without really being heavily subsidized. We have a very ambitious plan to modernize the irrigation system in the old lands. And when I say the old lands, is the lands that we've been planting and cultivating for thousands of years. I think that because all these lands are flood irrigated, they use more water than what they should use. So this national project is going to start next year, and I think that we're going to receive more funds from the government, from the World Bank, from other agencies that are really keen on this program, and we've talked to several of them. We're going to receive technical assistance from the FAO, from the IFAD, from all the international agencies. And I think that within 10 years, we would have changed the irrigation system, saving around 10 billion cubic meters of water that will allow us to increase the reclaimed area by around 2 million acres. So this is the plan. I hope that we'll be able to do it. And this is going to be a great help for the percentage of self-sufficiency of foodstuffs in this country.